Welcome back to the Why We Like That podcast. Today we are going to do scary stories. Next time I'm just gonna show up in a sheet.
I've made an
Don't do that.
Yeah, with the color of my skin, it doesn't really work too well.
And your bald head.
I'll just show up as a Nazgul then. I'll wear a black cloak.
I've made an executive decision. I'm going to be on the bottom of this episode. So we got Spooky Dookie over here, and we got our Nightmare Nights emblem over here.
Whoop whoop! Spooky Dookie! Spooky Dookie! So
Dude,
stupid.
if only we were popular enough to have merch.
To have merch and just have Spooky
Just
Dookie.
Spooky Dookie.
You know what's fucked is I would buy that shirt and wear it all the
I
time.
would too.
I'd wear it all the time. I'd walk into like work and my boss would be like, "What the hell? A Spooky Dookie? It's Halloween! Ha ha!"
Hey!
You know when you're going
shit right there on the floor.
What are you
better
doing?
than what I was gonna say.
I get a spooky dookie.
It's a Spooky Dookie.
See, it's terrifying, right? Somebody
then you
that
put a
seems to have
Kleenex
all
over
his
it.
mental fortitudes in place, just out of nowhere, shits on your floor. Woo! And then like
You put
waddle
a-
away.
you
'cause
put
gotta
a
wipe your
fucking-
ass.
You put a fucking Kleenex with the eye holes cut out. Be like, I planned for this, by the way. And you just put
You
it on
put
it.
it over the turd. Jesus Christ, that is. All right. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. We're today, like I said, we're doing scary stories. And,
Scary stories.
Yeah. What do you? How many you got today, Alex?
I've got two, and full disclaimer, they are not my own stories. I'm saving my own for Halloween. But what I did was I took an urban legend from your location and an urban legend from our location. And because I couldn't find an actual cohesive story to put together, I put it all in ChatGPT. So we're going to see how it works.
Okay. What about you, Hunter?
I have one. I couldn't find any others I was happy with.
Nothing wrong with that. It better quality over quantity. That's what I say.
I have heard this one before, so when I went over it, I was like, oh, I remember this one.
I
I better
not
shit
very-
my pants.
I better pee myself and cry for my mommy. Please don't make me do that, especially on a recording. That's okay. Anyway, what the fuck? Okay, your tactical hot sauce, huh?
Tactical hot sauce.
I got one, and it's short, but that's just because I'm really bad at telling stories that aren't firsthand accounts. So I can read a couple short ones, but they're only like several sentences long, kind of thing.
I was gonna say some of my favorite stories are two sentence horror stories.
Oh yeah.
I just want to pull up a couple of those now.
What I think we're gonna do, I think the best way to do this, boys, is we'll take turns reading a story, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. What we think about it, like I'm sure we'll make jokes about it and shit, and then we'll go to the next person, so on and so forth, and just enjoy a little bit of story time with Ty, Hunter, and Alex.
Three people that you would never
want to tell a story.
One guy that can only read books through audio or Audible, and
You can't read an audiobook.
you can follow along.
Yeah, but you're not reading an audiobook.
Eh,
You cannot physically read an audiobook.
there's some of them where it has like the transcript of like the chapter, and you can follow along. That's how I read Jurassic Park, because I'm illiterate.
Why does that not surprise me?
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Does this ghost story have pictures
No, it's a pop-up book.
in your pop-up book?
You're just reading a scary pop-up book and you go, oh shit. Speaking of scary stories, real quick, I know Alex's is scary stories to tell in the dark. Hunter, what was your like go-to reading a scary story or something when you were younger?
I didn't really have one.
No?
I didn't read a lot when I was a kid.
I went from
because like my brain couldn't do it. In the sense of like I would
focus.
I would read, I'd get like halfway through a page, lose where I was, and have to restart. So it'd literally be I would get a page done maybe every day if I was lucky.
So you got a first-hand lesson on what schizophrenia is like.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Why I don't read books. That's why I listen to audiobooks.
Smart man.
Even then I have to restart the like chapter a couple times because I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
You miss the last 10 seconds of dialogue, so you restart
Like,
the
go
entire
back.
fucking chapter.
Or like I'll hear dialogue and I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck's going on? I gotta restart this chapter.
Dude, my like thing when I was reading was reading the same line over and over again on accident. Like you'd be following along, you get to the last page, and then you'd reread the line that you were reading, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then it'd completely throw me off.
I do that with
That's
like
how
instructions.
that would happen to me as well.
I reread the instructions like 4 times to make sure I'm doing it right. When I comprehended it properly the first time around. What you typing there, bud?
I was pulling up pictures for the story that I have.
Oh,
Because
is it about the Yucca Man?
It is not. Is there an urban legend about the Yucca Man that I don't know about?
Apparently out in Yucca Valley, Josh Tree area, there's like a folklore tale of Bigfoot in the desert called Yucca Man. It's dumb as hell.
That sounds horrible.
It's dumb as hell.
It doesn't even sound like a good urban legend.
The only cool part about it is like in the urban legend, it's like, yeah, when he's walking around in the desert, you don't really see it. It just looks like a Joshua tree or a yucca plant.
Mm-hmm.
But then it moves and you're like, oh, but it's just Bigfoot. So it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Plus, how does Bigfoot live in the desert? He probably would die. It's like taking a husky out there.
What?
He has a lot of fur, like a husky. They like the cold.
Maybe he has scales. You don't know him.
The lizard Illuminati?
Yes.
All roads lead to the Denver airport?
Until you good?
Okay. Was that the song of your people? Hold up. The hunter's doing a mating call.
All right, who's going first?
I'll go first just because it's a little shorter one. Get everybody in the mood. Sorry if it's bright as shit.
Mine's short too, Ty.
So I'm not really gonna like look at the camera or your reactions because again I only have one monitor and I'm using my phone as my aesthetic. So this one's called Go to Bed by Evan the Nerd 83.
I don't wanna.
I think I've heard this one.
Jacob decided to stay at home when his mother went out. She told him to go to bed at 11, but unfortunately he couldn't hear her over the sound of his music. Jacob haphazardly waved his mother goodbye as she closed the door. Jacob spent an hour and a half playing with his phone, games, YouTube, movies, music, so on and so forth. He even texted his friend for a while until she was no longer replying. He didn't pay attention to the time until his phone battery hit 10%. Jacob realized his mother never called or texted him in all the time that he had on his phone. Jacob sent her a text. Hey, no reply. He was confused as to why she wouldn't answer him. She always answered the phone. His confusion chilled, whatever this fucking word means, chilled him to the bone as the night fell and midnight rose. He sent his mother another text. Mom, where are you? Again, no answer. And then all of a sudden, "Sweetie?" A familiar voice rang out behind the couch. It sounded like his mother, but it wasn't. Not entirely. It was warped. Crinkling like folded tinfoil, Jacob jumped and spun around, only for that's fucked up. Only for thick black hair to consume his sight. "Why haven't you gone to bed?" The end. Not a very good storyteller.
Nice.
But yeah, that was the first one I thought found.
We suck at telling stories. Just would like to put that disclaimer again.
I do have a question because there's another story I do like that's kind of creepy, but it's not really a ghost story.
Okay.
Are we doing just ghost stories or are we just doing scary stories?
Just scary stories, I thought.
Whatever you get.
Then I have two. Good?
Okay. I shit you not. It felt like someone just like did like this on my chair.
Well, at least your light didn't just fucking turn on.
Yeah, no, my chair just went like someone came behind and was like,
"Spoopy." Ooh. Ooh.
I'm gonna die.
Well, who's next? Campfire ghost stories.
I can go a little next. I kind of read this first one while listening to yours, and this didn't exactly do what I wanted it to do, but I think it'll still work. So this is the story. It was supposed to be centered around the story of something called the Charman, which is believed to be a urban legend within California, in Ventura County, in the Ojai Valley. Ojai. I don't know how to. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I apologize to anyone. But it talks about a couple different urban legends. So here we go. In the dark corners of Ventura County, nestled just south of the Ojai, lies a place shrouded in supernatural mystery, Camp Comfort County Park. This seemingly tranquil park is the setting for eerie tales that have haunted locals for decades, making it a prime spot for ghost hunters and urban legend enthusiasts alike. While Camp Comfort appears peaceful by day, by night, it transforms into a realm inhabited by restless spirits. The first of these is a bride, her spectral figure veiled in a blood-soaked wedding dress. Tall and slender with light brown hair, she wanders the roads near the park, trying to hitchhike with her thumb outstretched. Some say she was murdered on her wedding day, her life stolen by a husband who coveted her dowry. The locals tell of seeing her along Creek Road, her desperate plea for a ride, possibly a way to escape her eternal torment. Not far from her domain is a ghostly horsewoman. On the anniversary of her death, she reenacts the tragic accident that claimed her life. As she rides through the night, her horse gets spooked by a snake, and in a cruel twist of fate, she is thrown from the saddle, reliving her fatal fall year after year. Then there's the headless motorcyclist, another spectral figure that races down the lonely roads of the park. The tale goes that he was forced off the road by a pickup truck, his life cut short by a wire fence or the branch of a tree that took his head. Now he haunts the very stretch where he met his untimely demise, his decapitated form speeding past unsuspecting travelers. In the shadows of the park, the spirit of an old Native American shaman lingers. With feathers adorning his hair, his ethereal presence adds to the mystique, as if he guards the sacred lands from the intrusions of the living. Perhaps most unnerving of all is the legend of the Ojai vampire. This creature of the night is said to have relocated to the area in the 1890s, fleeing from Italy or Spain. The vampire's reign of terror was short-lived, as local ranchers discovered the truth. Armed with crucifixes and holy water, they stormed the vampire's ranch, fending off his loyal black phantom dog before staking him in his stone sarcophagus. To this day, the vampire's tomb is said to lie hidden, awaiting the brave or the foolish who dare to peer inside. But the true terror of Creek Road does not end at the park's boundaries. Just north of Camp Comfort, near the two-lane bridge that spans San Antonio Creek, more spirits stir. Two ghostly children clad in 19th century attire are said to walk the rails of the bridge before plummeting into a creek bed below. When curious onlookers rush to check, they find nothing on the other side. Adding to the chilling atmosphere is a disembodied child's hand that scuttles along the railings of the bridge, and the eerie echoes of a ghostly school bus crash, where the screams of its doomed passengers still haunt the area on rainy nights. Yet the most notorious specter of this haunted region is the Charman. His burnt and disfigured form is said to haunt the infamous Charman Bridge, terrorizing anyone brave enough to stop and call out, "Help me." His origins are debated, with some saying he is a survivor of the devastating 1948 fire that ravaged the area. One version of the tale speaks of a father and son caught in a blaze, with the son going insane after skinning his father's burnt remains. Another story suggests Charman was a husband who could only listen helplessly as his wife's scream echoed in the flames. A third claims he was a firefighter consumed by the very fire he was battling. Regardless of which version you believe, one thing is certain. Charman's legend has grown into a fixture of local lore. Some even speculate that the Charman might have been a man suffering from skin cancer, whose appearance seen by frightened youth spurred the legend. There are even whispers of a Charman hoax staged in the 1960s, further muddying the waters between reality and myth. Today, Charman has become so infamous that even a hot sauce bears his name, keeping the legend alive in more ways than one. But for those who dare to visit Creek Road and Camp Comfort County Park, the true test is whether you're brave enough to face the spirits that call these haunted lands home. Would you dare to stop your car on Charman Bridge, step out, and summon the terror that lurks in the darkness?
Yeah.
That sucked.
No, that was better than me.
I'm
At
not
least
gonna lie.
You
The
can read.
The fucking funniest part of that story to me was the vampire relocated, like he was looking for a fucking summer home or something.
Yeah, he's got to relocate. They got better schools in that area.
He was pushed out of his house for.
I was hoping
an
it was gonna
eviction.
make like a story.
Instead, it just kind of talked about like the different. I like that it talked about the different cryptids though. And
Yeah,
like
that part's
the
cool,
other
but I was
folklore.
hoping for like an encounter with a Charman or something. Which
Man.
probably is going to be how the next one is as well.
Every time he said Charman, I kept thinking of Charmander.
Oh, I was thinking of Darman, the guy on YouTube with those goofy
Darman.
videos. But no, I liked it, and it's weird being a California native and living here as long as I have. Like, I've never even heard of this, and considering it's only like 2 hours away, I still have no idea who it is. So that's pretty cool. I might have to go check it out. See if I can summon the dark spirits of the roasted weenie.
Well, if you say that, I'm gonna laugh if he fucks your shit up.
Because you'll deserve it.
He just starts throwing hands with mortals when they insult him.
I do think it'd be interesting if we visit California to go there and see what.
Yeah.
See if we see anything. Because
like
then we won't get we won't have the possibility of getting arrested
For trespassing.
Yeah.
Trespassed.
Because like there's that hotel in Joshua Tree that's said to be haunted. It's right next to the Playhouse, across the street from the post office there. And I stayed there, nothing. So there are a lot of places that are like, oh, it's said to be haunted. Oh, this one particular spirit is haunting it. There's no way all of them are that haunted. So
yeah. So,
but the fact that it's a bridge is kind of fucky.
Yeah, you know what bridge I really want to go to? Goatman's Bridge.
Goatman's Bridge? I've never heard of that one.
Oh, it's a fuck you one.
I
Where
haven't
is
heard
it?
of that one either.
Is it what they base the Three Little Pigs on?
No.
Or the
It's called
Billy Goat's Gruff?
Old Alton Bridge, also known as Goatman's Bridge. It's a historic iron truss bridge connecting the Texas cities of Denton and Copper Canyon.
I've
So it's
heard
in
of Denton
Texas.
before, but
It's in Texas.
sounds terrifying.
Oh, dude, it looks like a cool place to go.
It'd be one of those things where you go to one of these haunted locations to like get a ghost or something caught on camera or experience it, and you just run into the fucking serial killer or a crazed homeless man.
That's the
trying to
theory, though.
eat
They
you.
don't know.
Yeah,
Like the Goatman, it was said to be like a escaped lunatic asylum patient that like fucking was killing and eating goats and became the Goat Man. And like there's different origins of the story.
yeah. I always worry about running across a man that's half man, half goat
It's Satan.
outside of D&D.
Satan. Or a satyr. How you look at it.
Yes.
Depending on which half is goat.
Totally unrelated note, not even scary in the least bit. I just realized, I guess because I haven't seen the movie in like
Mr.
over
Tumnus
10 years,
is
is James McAvoy.
yeah, he's hella young in that movie.
It didn't even register that he was.
James McAvoy.
guy
He
that
plays
played-
Professor X in the X-Men First Class.
He
He's in
plays
that
the
movie
dude in
Split.
Split.
Huh.
Yeah, he's the
Mr.
guy.
Tumnus.
He's one of the main guys in that new His Dark Materials show on HBO Max.
Then It Chapter 2. And It.
Yeah, he's Billy.
The one that stutters.
Billy.
Yeah.
Billy.
Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they showed the X-Men like for a brief second.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Yep.
I now have 3 stories, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
I made so in the spirit of the fact that I used ChatGPT, I made it write a scary story. So we're gonna see how well it did, and we'll judge it heavily.
Huh?
It's just the Communist Manifesto.
That's a scary story.
Ooh, communism.
Okay, so here's a question: which one are you least wanting to run into if you went to that area?
Out of the story you just read?
Yeah. So there's the bride, the ghostly horsewoman, the headless motorcyclist, the
I would laugh at all of
old
them,
Native
probably,
American shaman.
except
the
for the Native
vampire.
American shaman.
I would say the shaman or the charman would probably be the most horrifying.
Yeah. Because, like, the other ones are just funny. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
that I
fucked
want to
up
meet
that-
a
that-
vampire either.
It
though.
reminds me of
He's dead.
most of them remind me of Final Destination. That's
Because if you have to live for eternity as a ghost and you just constantly die the same way all the time,
That's pretty
of
fucked
falling off your horse, that's fucked up. That's a special kind of torture.
It is. I think I agree. Like, I don't really fuck. Like, out of all the like kinds of ghosts, there's like 2 ghosts I really don't fuck with. Like, if you were talking from like a cultural perspective, and it's Native American and like Middle
Voodoo.
Eastern.
Oh.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
Middle
jinn
East.
and shit,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that shit. And
Yeah.
like I was trying to explain this to a coworker, and they understood, but like I don't know how to like explain it correctly. There's just something like I don't want to fuck with any kind of demon or anything like that, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be like, oh sweet, it's a American demon, but there's something about the jinn that just unsettle me so deeply.
I will say, out of all the Nukes top 5 that I've watched in the past 10 plus years or whatever, right? the ones of the guys in the Middle East going to some abandoned fucking house
And they see someone
and
fucking
they
running.
see jinn, apparently jinns and shit like that. Those are probably the ones that I can't debunk by just watching the video. They're the only ones where I'm kind of like, hold on a minute.
And I feel like
that doesn't make sense.
For me, one thing that makes it even more real is they have so much like culture and stuff behind it.
Yeah.
Whereas like America, like don't get me wrong, Americans have shit on like culture and shit around demons and stuff, but not nearly as much as on something like a jinn.
Yeah.
But I mean, all
Like-
our demons and stuff still span from like Christianity,
Just
which-
that kind of Catholicism and stuff. So.
and not to say that makes it any less scary, but I don't know. There's just something like those.
Jinn are very much scarier in my opinion.
I think, and you know, not putting this into the universe.
What?
I think I would rather
laughing at?
see.
Now,
'cause put my hands together.
I got chills because I immediately thought of one of the videos from Nuke's Top 5. This guy's in there doing a thing, ghost hunting, and he walks into like a bathroom and he looks in the mirror and he's got the light like how it is on me right now in the mirror. And all of a sudden you see something just peek its head out right behind him. And he turns and there's nothing there. That one I can't explain, and it still gives me chills to this day.
You know
the
what we
way
need to
that
do?
it just peeks off to the side.
I don't know if we could do it this year. We could try and get like one recorded, but we should do a like we watch like Nuke's Top 5 and like react to it, or
Oh yeah,
like reacting
100%.
to like scary stories. I think we might
100%.
be able to get it before Halloween.
yeah, that'd be
But,
a good one. I will say with Nuke's Top 5, we got to go with his older stuff because the stuff that's come out this past year are just kind of ass.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's not his fault. It's just there's not a lot of scary videos and stuff out there that aren't obviously staged, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say though, every once in a while, I feel like with Nuke's Top 5, you watch like 4 of them that are staged, and you're like, these are staged. But then you got that one video that's just like,
Yeah.
You can't explain.
Yep. Yep.
But what I was saying earlier is I feel like the scariness of the jinn, like granted, I don't want to encounter any demon, right? But like most demons are portrayed as shadowy figures or this demonic like monster. Not that it makes it okay, but it makes it better than the jinn usually take on a very humanistic form, at least from what I've seen. But it's just like that uncanny valley of like you're human,
Something's
but
not right.
something's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes that one so just unbelievably upsetting. And that's what I was kind of, I think I brought it up in the last episode too. But like I was talking about this to my coworker too. Like, what the fuck happened X amount of years ago that put a primal fear of Uncanny Valley in us?
We talked a short bit about that on the podcast, I think.
Yeah. I
It's
just
gotta
activating
be.
that fight or flight mode is insane just by looking at something.
I think I said it on the first time we talked about it. I still am a firm believer of like something happened like in a previous like civilization of us.
Because
And it fucked with
it
us.
explains why people get freaked out about mannequins and why mannequins are such a good horror trope in movies and video games.
Absolutely.
Because of that fear. Like when we were at the mall yesterday or the day before or whatever, me, Lindsay, and Pee Wee, just looking at the mannequins walking by, it
makes
Makes you
unsettles
uncomfortable.
me.
It's really weird.
And that's kind of my whole thing is like if you're in a haunted place investigating, no matter what, if you run into a mannequin, you're gonna be uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was this like abandoned house by my grandparents out in the desert, and I drove by it or ran by it when I would go on runs and stuff in the morning, and I never went in and checked it out, but I wanted to. And I went in there finally one day, midday. I was not ballsy enough to do it at night at the time.
No?
And I went in. Yeah, I'm looking around. It had like old photos. Half the walls are coming in. It was just a normal dilapidated house. And then just in the kitchenette area where like you would expect a table or a fridge, in the spot where a refrigerator would go was just a full brand new looking mannequin. And I was like, I'm
out.
gonna go home. This is just weird, and just left.
What would you do if like you got in your car or whatever and you just like look back and at the window that mannequin's just there now?
I will say, out of all the simplest things that could give me the creeps, it's mannequins. Mannequins, dude. 100%. Mannequins in the ocean are the thing. The basic things that just give me.
Thalassophobia is a real thing, and it affects millions of people.
Oh yeah.
You want to know what a primal fear of mine is? That's not like inherently probably everyone's fear. Going down like a side road or any kind of like just not busy road and looking in my rearview mirror.
Maybe it's because I was raised with roads like that it doesn't bother me, but I can see where that fear
there's that
like if you're born from and raised in a city where it's there's always something going on, and then you go to like the country or something and it's a rural place and it's not busy, I could see that happening in that
going off what Alex said too, looking out at night out your windows and something into like a big ass open field.
That's creepy too.
But like my
especially
biggest
if it's
fear
fog
on that,
and like on top of the grass there's like that mist. Whoo! Spoopy.
With the like looking into my rearview mirror, like it's not like I'm just like, oh, mirror. It's the fear of like looking in my rearview mirror and seeing like something sitting in my back seat or seeing something just standing out in the middle of the road that wasn't there before.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's always creepy. That would happen
My
up
story
north
has
a
to
lot.
do with the back seat.
That would happen a lot up north because you would drive by and then you look and in the glow of your taillights you'd see a deer kind of standing in the road. And it's just because they're always crossing the road. Oh, dude. They're always crossing the road. They do it at the worst times, like in front of your car or into the side of your car. But when they're behind your car, you're like, oh, all right, good. I didn't hit a deer on my way home today.
Well, that's like, so I go to work like hella early in the morning now. And on the roads that I take, there's like it's the same roads that Hunter walks. And the other morning I turned the car and I'm like, I'm not thinking of anything, right? Like,
and you almost fucking hit a deer at that corner?
No, well, yeah, that too. But I turned and I had to slam on my brakes because there's just 3 deer on the road and they're just looking at me. They're not moving. They're just looking at me. And I said, I will kill a fucking deer today if one of those starts walking towards me.
Oh, but in those situations, you just got to realize like the deer is obviously damn near domesticated. They've been around humans for so long their entire life that they don't see cars or people as like a massive threat. And if anything, they're just going to be curious. But if you're out, like, say, in the Appalachian Trails or something, going camping, and there's one there, and it just kind of, like, stares at you and starts walking towards you, that's when you need to fuck off.
Yeah.
See, no, it's even worse. Alex's is bad because, yeah, you're in a car, they're just looking at you. You know what's even worse, though? When you're walking at 3 a.m. and you see one looking at you from a tree line in the trees. And it's not moving. It's just staring your ass down. And I'm like... The fuck part was I was walking home one day and there was one on one of the house's lawns that I walked. And it's looking at me. And I'm walking home and like I'm looking back. I'm like, that's fucking creepy. Stop looking at me. I look at the next house that's like it's a couple like it's at like the end of the road. Look and like far from the other one. Look at it. There's another deer looking at me. I'm like, what is going on? Is there like, was that the same one, or is it just a cult of you guys?
What
That's
if every like 3 houses there was just another
There's
deer?
a deer watching me. I'd be convinced there's something going on.
It's just that bit from
Jesus fucking
Rick and
Christ.
Morty. Hey, come here, little boy. Can you hear us? Can you understand us?
The
When you
fucking
talk to
squirrels.
squirrels.
You moved your head like this, and the light like kind of reflected off the castle for a second. It looked like there was a face behind you.
Fuck you,
All right,
buddy.
Scared the shit out of me.
It's your turn, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, mine's more of an urban legend that deals with ghosts.
Okay.
Or you've probably heard of it. It's called the Vanishing Hitchhiker.
I have.
I love this one. So I found one of the renditions online, so I'm just gonna read it. A
This
dozen
is new
miles
for
out.
me.
Oh, get ready. A dozen miles outside of Baltimore, on the main road from New York is crossed by another important highway. It's a dangerous intersection, and there's talk of building, and there's talks of buildings and underpass for the east-west. This is weird. To date, however, the plans exist only on paper. Dr. Eccles was driving home from a country club dance late one Saturday night. He slowed up for the intersection and was surprised to see a lovely young girl dressed in the sheerest of evening gowns, beckoning him for a lift. He jammed on his brakes and motioned for her to climb into the back seat of his roadster. All cluttered up with golf clubs and bags up here in the front, he explained. But what on earth is a youngster like you doing all alone out here at this time of night? It's too long of a story to tell, said the girl. Her voice was sweet and somewhat shrill, like the tinkling of sleigh bells. Please take me home. I'll explain everything there. The address is blank North Charles Street. I hope it's not too far out of your way. The doctor grunted and set the car in motion. He drove rapidly to the address she had given him and pulled up before the shuttered house. He said, "Here we are," and then he turned around, but the back seat was empty. What the devil? The doctor muttered to himself. The girl couldn't possibly have fallen from the car, nor could she have simply just vanished. He rang incessantly on the house bell, confused as what he had never seen this before in his life. At long last, a gray-haired man, very tired, looked at him at the door. Came out from the door. Looking at him. I can't tell you what amazing thing happened, began the doctor. A young girl gave me this address a while back. I drove her here and... Yes, I know, said the man wearily. This has happened to several other Saturday evenings this past month. That young girl, sir, was my daughter, and she was killed in an automobile accident in the same intersection where you saw her.
I love those stories.
I've heard different versions of that story.
There's another one where there's a jacket left in the back of his car, which was the one I was hoping to find. And he goes to the address that he does and tries to put it and finds a grave with the girl's name on it.
Maybe you guys know, because it reminded me of the Japanese folklore that I heard about that's kind of the same story. But what's the one of it's where it's a girl walking down the street?
Slipmouth woman?
Yeah.
And she asks you if she's pretty?
Yeah.
The Slipmouth woman.
Okay.
Supposedly, there's a way to beat, because all Japanese, urban legends are fucked up all beyond, all belief. Apparently, but though, they each have, one specific way of beating them. And the one for the Slipmouth woman is, you're all right. If I remember it correctly.
Way,
the Rizzler.
The real way is you distract her with something shiny. And you try to get
autistic?
because what coins and stuff. Because what happens is she approaches you in an alleyway usually. Mm-hmm. So what your goal is to get back to human civilization, or back to basically the main road where people are, so she can't come back after you. But yes, most Japanese folklore have a way to beat the folklore.
Here's the problem though: if that ever happens and I get back to civilization.
What the fuck are you gonna tell people?
No. That doesn't matter. All that. I'm going to the first gun store I find. And I'm ending it right there. Because here's the thing. I don't trust that bitch ain't going to show up at my house the minute I'm alone again.
Fair.
I'm going to America, or I'm going to a different country, or I'm going somewhere else. There ain't no way I'm going to be alone ever again.
Jesus Christ.
I'm paying like hookers by the hour to just be with me, not even in a sexual way. Just live in my house.
I just need you to stay in this room at all
with
times.
Me. Because like, what do you do? If the whole thing was she got you in an alley, what's gonna stop her from finding your house? She's 100%. A demon.
Watch her walk away and then you leave.
What?
Watch her walk the other way till you can't see her anymore, and then you walk so she doesn't follow you home.
She's a ghost. Nah, fuck off. Nah. All right.
No, what would get me would be the fucking imagery of it. And that's my thing with a lot of scary stuff, like movies and
images.
Comics. It's the
it's what makes scary stories to tell in the dark so scary.
Yeah, it's all the imagery that they use, like all those little AI 3D edits that they have on like TikTok and stuff. None of them are really bad. Like none of them scare me, but there are some that the image is just so fucked that it freaks me out. Like the one I sent you the other night of the shark one. I sent it to you a couple nights ago. It's like it looks like real photos because there's like a scuba diver in the photo, but it also shows like this fucked up demonic AI generated shark, and it looks almost real. That one messed me up. I was like, ugh. And I'm already terrified of the ocean to begin with, so it just made it worse.
My favorite version of the story Hunter just told is one that's similar to what you were talking about with the jacket, but it's a man gave the girl the jacket because like she looked incredibly cold, and when he went to go like to the place because she disappeared, he was like talking, or no, he ended up like dropping her off. She got out of the car and everything, went into the house. And then he went back later. The mom answered the door, told him like, "Hey, my daughter's been dead for like 5 years or 10 years or something like that." And found the jacket
on the grave.
And the jacket was on the grave.
That's the one I was talking about. The one he found it on the grave, or he didn't put it on the grave. He found it on the grave.
Yeah. Because that one's crazy. Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
Like if I was told like.
Teleportation.
If I encountered the one that you just read, like girl gets into my car, I drive, and then she just disappears, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm either really, really tired or I'm losing my fucking mind.
That's the one I wanted to find, the one with the jacket, but I couldn't.
I would just assume that she like jumped out of the car at a stop sign or something. But
wouldn't you hear the door?
If I'm zoned out on driving, no.
That turn on when you when you take off the car.
Oh, mine doesn't. It does have that setting, but I always just keep it off because I have a baby in the back, and whenever we come home at night and we open the door, the light wakes her up and stuff. So
fair enough.
That's why we keep it off.
I didn't know that was a setting you can turn off.
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought that was just a setting.
Creep. Speaking of which, did your parents ever tell you that turning on the light inside the car
was
would
illegal?
Get them arrested?
Legal? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My parents took it one step further because I like to wear flip-flops and told me that driving in flip-flops was illegal.
My grandparents said the same thing.
I was like, what the fuck?
I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing. But
my dad was like, yeah, I just didn't want you wearing flip-flops while driving our cars. I said, then just say that. Don't fucking lie to me.
That's such a weird thing to be hung up on, too. I don't want you wearing flip-flops. You can wear sneakers or sandals, but no flip-flops.
Well, their argument was like, you don't have as much control with your feet with flip-flops because like the flip-flop could get caught under the pedal or stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
But I've kept up the tradition and told Delilah that it's illegal. She can't turn on the light in the back.
And she'll do the same. She'll tell her children it's illegal. And the
Why
tradition
do
will,
that though? Like, why
It's so
lie?
Because it's funny. When I was an adult and I realized that it was bullshit and they just said that because they didn't
What are
want the
you
light
gonna
on,
do
I'm
with?
like,
Because we
that's
all
funny.
know this generation is very sensitive. What are you gonna do when she grows up if she finds out that you lied to her and is just like completely shattered by that?
that would be the least of her issues.
I really want you.
Oh my god!
Not like I traumatized the kid, but by the time she's grown enough to realize that, the world's not going to be in a good place.
Ty, I really
She's
want
going to have
you.
bills, job, friendships, and relationships. She's going to have all this other shit to worry about instead of.
Whoa! She's not gonna have relationships.
I've been informed by my wife, which is the other parent, that I have to allow this to happen later on in life, whether I like it or not.
Yeah. I mean, when she's like 40, that's fine.
Yeah. That was my cutoff too, but
Yeah.
apparently not.
35, I guess. It's the new
Fine,
one.
I'll compromise. 35.
See, Ty, what you got to do is
Tell Lindsay.
Get a friend
I'm in
that's
agreement with this.
Get a friend that's a cop so that if she ever tries to test the theory of it's illegal, have your cop friend pull you over. Be like, I'm sorry, did we turn on the light here while we were driving at night? That that's illegal.
That's a $10,000 fine, and your dad's now
Sir,
going to
did
jail.
you reach for my gun?
Sir, did you reach for my gun? Sir, stop reaching for my gun.
Anyway, what was your next one, Alex?
It's your turn.
I don't want to read another one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on,
bad at
dyslexia.
All right, so this one is talking about somewhere that me and Hunter actually live decently close to. It's called the Bell Witch Cave, and it is supposedly one of the most haunted caves in America.
You guys have mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah, I want to go so fucking bad.
Alex has. I hadn't heard of it until he mentioned it.
So, I can't guarantee that this story is going to be any good again because I don't know how it's fucking.
You didn't pre-read the
Sure didn't.
ChatGPT.
You guys were procrastinating, so I was like, fuck it, I'll procrastinate too. The legend of the Bell Witch is one of America's most enduring and mysterious tales of the supernatural, originating from the early 19th century in Adams, Tennessee. The haunting centers around the Bell family, particularly the youngest daughter, Betsy, and her father, John Bell Sr. The poltergeist, which came to be known as Kate. Sorry, excuse me, I got the hiccups. The poltergeist, which came to be known as Kate, after claiming to be old Kate Batts witch, tormented the family for years, leaving behind a legacy of strange and terrifying occurrences. The story began in 1817 when John Bell encountered a strange creature on his property, a beast that resembled a dog with the head of a rabbit. When he shot at the creature, it vanished into thin air. This was only the beginning of the strange phenomena. Other members of the Bell family soon had encounters of their own. John's son, Drew Bell, witnessed an unusually large bird, and his daughter, Betsy, saw a girl in a green dress swinging from the limb of an oak tree. Their slave, Dean, reported being followed by a large black dog on his way to visit his wife.
That was a left fucking turn.
Yeah. I mean, it is 1817. Not saying it's right, just saying it's the time.
I'm not going to lie, I did not expect that. That was just a hole out of left field. As
the sightings mounted, the strange activity moved into the Bell home itself. It began with knocking sounds on the doors and walls, the gnawing of invisible creatures on their bed frames, and the eerie clinking of chains being dragged across the floors. John Bell began to suffer mysterious ailments, including paralysis of the mouth, while the rest of the family dealt with ever-escalating disturbances. Sheets were pulled from their beds while they slept, and the children, particularly Betsy, were subjected to physical attacks. The unseen entity slapped, pinched, and even pricked Betsy with pins, leaving her bruised and traumatized. Desperate for help, the Bells called upon family friend James Johnson, who agreed to speed the night in the Bell home. Oh, spend, sorry. Who agreed to spend the night in the Bell home. Johnson was also subjected to this strange activity, and by morning he confirmed that they were experience he confirmed that what they were experiencing was a spirit, just like those described in the Bible. Word of the haunting spread quickly, and soon people from far and wide were traveling to the Bell home to witness the bizarre events for themselves. The entity eventually began to speak out loud, identifying itself as a spirit and claiming to have once been happy, but now disturbed. It offers various explanations for its presence, one being that the disturbance stemmed from a Native American burial mound on the property. Despite sending members of the Bell family on futile treasure hunts, the spirit seemed more interested in religious debates and gossip. On one occasion, the entity repeated word for word 2 sermons being given at different churches 13 miles apart at the same time. As time went on, the spirit showed an uncanny ability to know things about the Bell family and their guests that no one outside the household could have known. It repeated intimate family sayings and even mimicked the accents and voices of visitors' relatives. An Englishman who came to investigate was so disturbed by the witch's imitation of his parents' voice that he left hastily, later writing to the Bells that the spirit had followed him back to England. Although the spirit tormented the family, it seemed to show kindness towards Lucy Bell, John Bell's wife, often giving her fresh fruit and singing hymns to her. But for John Bell Sr., whom the spirit derisively referred to as Old Jack, the entity expressed only hatred. It made it clear that its goal was to kill him, tormenting him with curses, threats, and physical afflictions. The haunting reached its climax in December 1820, when John Bell died, allegedly after being poisoned by the witch. The spirit reportedly interrupted his funeral, gleefully singing drinking songs during the service. After John Bell's death, the witch's focus shifted to Betsy Bell. The entity strongly opposed Betsy's engagement to a local man named Joshua Gardner and relentlessly harassed her until she finally called off the engagement in 1821. Soon after, the witch announced that it would leave, but promised to return in 7 years. True to its word, the spirit returned in 1828, visiting John Bell's widow, Lucy, and their sons. However, the family chose not to engage with the entity this time, and it eventually faded from their lives once again. The legend of the Bell Witch continued to grow over the years, with stories of Andrew Jackson before his presidency visiting the Bell farm to investigate the haunting. Jackson, according to some accounts, was intrigued by the story, but his men were so frightened by their experiences that they left abruptly. Another version of the legend, recorded in Panola County, Mississippi, claims that the Bell Witch was the ghost of an overseer who John Bell had murdered in North Carolina. In this version, the spirit is said to have fallen in love with a woman named Mary, leading to her tragic death, a tale with shades of vampire lore. Others have compared the supernatural powers of the Bell Witch to those attributed to jinn in Middle Eastern mythology. In the end, the true nature of the Bell Witch remains a mystery. Richard Williams Bell, John Bell's son, wrote in his manuscript that he could not determine whether the spirit was a demon, a mischievous hobgoblin, or some cursed soul. The many forms the entity took, along with its numerous voices and puzzling motivations, have left the Bell Witch legend open to interpretation for generations. Whether it was a witch, a spirit, or something more sinister, the story of the Bell Witch continues to captivate and terrify to this day.
Okay, so what does it have to do with a cave?
So I'm trying to figure out if this is the same, but I'm pretty sure it is. But on the
What I was trying to figure out too is where did the cave come in?
So the Bell Witch Cave, if I remember correctly, of course, has like a cabin above, which is where the Bells lived.
Oh,
and then
okay.
there's the cave, like not like directly underneath the house, but it's like on the same property. and it's very haunted, apparently.
Okay.
Let me look.
I like the fact that what was it, Andrew Jackson or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was apparently involved in all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That adds a little more credibility to the ghost story. I always think that when there's like a real figure attached to the story. Ooh, bless me. But yeah, that was a trip. It kind of sounded like a lot of the stuff that's in The Exorcist, like the mocking of religion and gossip and stuff like that.
Imagine being afflicted by that, though, like especially in that day and time.
Back in that day and time, that'd be terrible. Nowadays, I'd just be like, dude, shut up. I'm trying to go to sleep. I got work in the morning. My boss isn't going to let me have more days off because I have a ghost in my house. you going to pay my bills, bitch?
Give me your rent money.
Just pays the rent for you. Okay, well, all right. On the way.
All right, you can stay. That always reminds me this comic strip that Lindsay sends to me every Halloween, and it's like cabinets are all opening, shit's flying out everywhere. The couple's sitting in the kitchen, cowering in fear, like, "Oh my god, what's happening?" And then it cuts back to the cabinets being open, and there's a ghost there. It's all, why the fuck aren't there any clean spoons?
Who keeps spoons in the cabinets? They go in drawers.
That's what you're hung up on?
Yes.
That's the okay. Sorry, maybe in the comic they had a drawer open or something too.
So I want to actually really go to the Bell Witch Cave. I would love in a perfect world to spend the night there and like see what's what. I believe, Hunter, that's the episode that we watched not too long ago with Twin Paranormal, that like they were like in that cabin the whole time.
Is that what that is?
By the river?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the Bell Witch cabin.
Sorry, I had to burp.
And if it is, supposedly, like the witch they found out over the years is looking for like immortality and needs like two twins that it needs to drown in the fucking river.
And it's Twin Paranormal. Such a coincidence.
Like that's what they were like freaking out about. They're like, oh, the coincidence. Like, regardless, it was a fucked up episode. I will say that.
Disappointed.
Look, man, you may not like them. Hunter and I enjoy them.
It's not so much just them. It's the ghost hunting thing in general. But like I said, if I went ghost hunting and something actually happened, I would no longer be a skeptic. I would be a believer 110%.
We gotta take him somewhere, Alex.
Maybe we take him to the tunnel.
I might not be a Zach Baggins level believing in portals and shit, but but I would believe in ghosts more.
Fair enough. Ty, do you have another one?
Yes,
really.
He's just being a little bitch.
They're all kind of the same story of like.
Do you want me to go next?
Call out mother, and then the mother's calling to you, and then you go down to check, and your mother pulls you into a room as you're walking down and says, "Oh, I heard it too." Yeah, they're all just different versions of that story.
Did you see the TikTok stories? Did you see the TikTok that I sent you that played on that story, but the creature was actually the one that was upstairs and not downstairs?
No, what? I must have missed it.
You didn't send me that.
I did. I showed you it. It was one of the ones where he does like the uncomfortable like.
Oh, the guy we were talking about before.
Yeah. And he's like, you see the script and it says like, mom, and in quotations like, honey, come down here, like dinner's ready or something. and then like he starts to head down, and then the mom pulls him into the closet, and he's like, the mom's like, don't go, like I heard it too or something. And then he like looks back downstairs, and you're expecting to see the monster, and then it pans back, and it's the monster like standing behind him.
Ugh.
I was like,
You're
no.
showing me that.
Somebody needs to give this dude like
$1
million
movie.
and make a movie.
triple like blockbuster studio budget,
A AAA
and
game.
AAA game
Ooh.
money, and just let him have free reign on a movie, because he has the creepiest imagery, and it's always like the most random like stories or something, and he wraps it all up in a nice bow for 6 to 12 seconds.
They never fail to make me feel uncomfortable or genuinely almost like scared.
Yeah.
They freak me out pretty good.
I'm always that one that's kind of like,
yeah, you were saying that you kind of like,
where's it going?
Barely peek at it when you come across
no,
it on
I don't
TikTok.
like barely peek. I just like turn my fucking head. I don't know why. Like I should just peek, but I don't even do that. I just like half-ass it. I'm like, like turning my head slightly is gonna stop it.
Yeah, it's like kids thinking that when they're gonna get caught by the boogeyman, the blankets are gonna protect me.
The blankets do protect me.
No, they don't.
They do.
They don't.
Has the boogeyman got me?
Because if I can't see him, he can't see me.
I think that only works when you're like camouflage, not.
Look,
a
I'm
lump
just
on a
saying.
bed.
I'm talking to you right now, aren't I?
How do I know it's you and not?
It never fails that every time this video goes dark, it scares the crap out of me.
Alex just like crawls on the ceiling. Oh fuck, Hunter, get out of the house! Oh shit.
I'm jumping through the window, getting in Alex's car, and driving away.
If you're jumping out the window, how are you gonna get in my car and drive away? You don't have the keys.
Fuck.
What the fuck?
What?
There's a spider on the inside of the TV. I thought it was crawling across my screen, but I went to smush it and it's not smushing. But when I move my cursor over to it, it's like walking across the top of my cursor. Ugh. Ugh.
What?
Yeah, it's like
is it like a website
spider
thing?
No, because this is the only window I have open.
Minimize it?
Yeah, no, he's still there.
What the fuck?
That's horrifying. I didn't know that could happen.
I didn't either.
Just
All right,
gonna
Hunter.
have like the
Ty's being a
Amityville
bitch.
horror.
What's your next one?
So mine's another like a short horror story. I'm pretty sure you've heard of this too, Alice, because I know it's on TikTok.
Okay.
It's Aren't You Glad You Didn't Turn On the Lights?
Oh fuck! I don't know
if you've seen this one, Alex or Ty.
I don't know.
I hate this urban legend so much.
So there's variations of this one too. This one has to do with like physical stuff rather than paranormal or like cryptid. But basically, so a college girl decides to go out, so one night a college girl decides to go out and go to a party. She told her roommate at her dorm that she was going out. Her roommate said okay, and that her boyfriend was coming over. However, at 2 a.m., the college girl came back and hears a lot of noise coming from inside the dorm room. So she decides to wait outside. An hour passes, and eventually she just decides to put on headphones, not turn on the lights, and go in and go to bed without looking at anything because she was super drunk. And she went to sleep for the night. However, in the morning, she wakes up and looks over and sees her roommate brutally murdered on the bed, and on the wall, written in her blood, is, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn out the lights?" Or turn on the lights.
Huh.
So there's a more horrific one that I know It's basically the same story. Basically, this woman is watching kids for like 3 days or something like that. And the house that she's babysitting has a dog. And every night she'd get uncomfortable or scared, she'd put her hand over the side of the bed and the dog would lick her hand. She'd calm down and go to bed. Well, like one night after they all went to play like in the rain or in the snow or something, they had hung up all their jackets on the shower and she kept hearing this drip noise. Well, that night she like put her hand over the bed and someone licked her hand, and like the story accounts that it didn't feel like the same one, but she like ignored it and went back to bed anyway. In the morning she went to go to the bathroom and found like the kids and the dog hanging in the shower, and the drip sound she was hearing was blood dripping into the shower, and it written in blood on the wall, so it said humans can lick too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know those are derived from an actual true crime thing where this lady came home and there was like scratching or something under her bed and didn't understand what it was, so she peeked and there was a dude under her bed, called the cops and everything, and in the scratching noises were him trying to cut his way through the mattress to get to her. And then all these scary stories came out with like different twists and versions of that true story.
The one I heard that I liked was it was a guy and a girl having a sleepover, and the guy basically wakes her up in the middle of the night and says, "Hey, do you want to go get Chinese food?" And she's like, "It's 3 a.m. Like, why are we going to Chinese food?" She's like, and he pulls her out and goes like, "Hey, let's go get Chinese food." And basically, as they're walking out, he says, "There's a man under your bed. We need to get out of here."
Yeah.
There's so many derivatives of that story, and they all are just horrifying.
Yeah, because it's a real dude. It's a real person that can do physical harm to you in a second.
The other one that fucks me up is the high beam story.
High beam.
I'm sure you've all heard this one. It's an urban legend where like this girl gets into her car after like either at a bar or a late night at school or whatever, and she drives off onto the road, and this car like whips out behind her and starts flashing their high beams at her. And periodically, as it's following her home, and she's getting more panicked by the day or by like this minute, and every so often the car behind her flashes its high beams. Well, she calls her husband and tells her some lunatics following her home to call the cops and all that. She drives home. Her husband like grabs his gun and it's like threatening him. The cops are already there. They're arresting the dude following her. And the guy starts screaming like a lunatic. "It's not me. It's not me." He's in the back seat. And what they find out is there was a guy in the back seat trying to murder her. And every time he flashed the high beams, they would duck back under the seat.
Oh, that's creepy.
That always makes me look at my back seat because of that story.
That is.
I have heard that one.
As much as I am into horror and stuff, you'd think I'd know a lot of these, but I don't. They're all new to me.
I used to listen to them on the way to work and stuff, and some of them are terrifying.
The ones that I listen to the most are probably like Mr. Nightmare and Lazy Masquerade, but those are all I need to do
Mr. Nightmare
kind of things. Yeah, the Mr. Nightmare things are a lot like they're all like true, like real people doing creepy shit.
How they almost got like kidnapped or how they almost got murdered.
Yeah, stuff like that. And they're all pretty fucking wild.
Oh yeah.
To keep going kind of thing. There's only been a couple that I've heard that are like relying on like paranormal stuff, and they're creepy too, but it's always the real people aspect of it that's even more unsettling. But yeah.
Scary stories.
Scary stories indeed. I have one more if no one else has one.
Okay.
I got a 2-sentence horror story, but
Yeah,
it's
go
not
ahead.
very good. It's not very good.
Ty, look up some 2-sentence horror stories so you can contribute more.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not my dad.
All right, you ready?
I am now, son. I'm home.
Oh no.
Father, no.
I brought home the milk. Hunter, I saw that face.
Oh, apparently 2-sentence horror stories is a TV show.
Is it really?
Yeah, since 2019, it's got 3 seasons. Huh.
Interesting.
Hold on. Ty, if you have one, go ahead.
Do you not have one? I thought you
No,
said you had
there's
one.
one I do, but there's one I'm looking for that I.
One of my
that's better.
favorite 2-sentence horror stories is there are either two truths in the world. We are either alone in the universe or we are not. And either option are equally as terrifying.
I found it. I found the one I was looking for. I was looking for it the whole time as we were talking about the guy under the bed and like everything. I told her there was no monster in her closet as I picked her up and told her we could sleep with us tonight. I figured that was the safest way of getting her out of the house without him realizing I saw him.
Jesus.
Yep.
My wife woke me up last night to tell me there was an intruder in the house. She was murdered by an intruder 2 years ago.
Yikes.
That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So this one sounds interesting, but I don't fully get it. 2 years ago, 2 years I've lived like a vegetable, unable to move or speak, yet I felt every agonizing incision they made. But it was only when they dug me up and I saw the damage of the burrowing insects had done to my body that I realized my sentence was for life.
What don't you get about that?
I know they're buried, but I don't get that. I don't know. I'm dumb. Ignore me. I'm sorry.
Grandma's spirit will always be with you, my mom assured me. It has been 12 years and she still sits in the corner staring at me every night. That's fucking horrific. That one's.
I don't like that one.
I don't like that one.
Like I'm all great for a visit from grandma, but I don't want it sitting in the corner.
Here's a really good one for you.
Okay.
My garbage can smelled like yogurt, but I haven't eaten yogurt in years.
And
no.
Right.
Damn.
You ready? Trick or treat. Trick or treat, yelled the children at the door. The blood covering the walls, myself and the bodies behind me didn't even scare the little girl, even though none of it was fake.
Nice. There's been a lot of accounts of that, like murders that happen on Halloween, and like people saw like a real dead body, but they didn't know.
Oh, this one's ugh.
There's too many of these that are memes.
My brother and I finally finished skinning this animal. Now we can perfectly replicate its skin and walk amongst its species.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. What you got, Ty?
Well, the only they're all memes. Like I sneezed so hard I farted. It wasn't a fart.
For fun, I put my heartbeat reader on my daughter's new teddy bear. It read 80 beats per minute.
Holy fuck! Nope, I'm out of the house.
Yeah, 100%.
I like this one. It's not scary, but it's just funny. The police successfully brought home my missing husband. So who's buried under my roses?
They delivered the mannequins in bubble wrap. From the main floor, I begin to hear popping.
Yikes.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking good.
Yeah, I'm out of that.
I just set the store on fire and run away. Nope, I don't need a job.
I'm not even setting the store on fire. Fuck it. Whoever walks in, sorry.
Okay, these are just getting depressing now. And there's just fucked up imagery. Oh, it's because it's from the TV show. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Go ahead and read yours.
so this one is called The Watcher in the Walls. It was late autumn when Jenna moved into the old Victorian house on the outskirts of town. The rent was cheap, and the landlord had been oddly eager to get someone in quickly. It didn't bother her. The house was charming in its own way, creaky floors, a grand staircase, and plenty of space for her art studio. But it wasn't long before Jenna noticed something strange. On the very first night, while she was unpacking, she heard it, a soft scratching sound coming from the walls. At first, she brushed it off as the house settling, or maybe a rat. But the sound was too deliberate, too rhythmic. Scratch, 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 scratch. Like something or someone was trying to claw its way out. As the nights passed, the scratching grew louder and worse. It moved. It followed her from room to room. No matter where she was, the sound seemed to trail behind her, growing closer each night. One evening, exhausted and frustrated, Jenna pressed her ear to the wall, hoping to identify the source. But as soon as her cheek touched the cold plaster, the scratching stopped. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, in a voice barely more than a whisper, she heard it. I see you. Jenna yanked herself away from the wall, her heart pounding into her chest. She tried to tell herself it was just her imagination, but the voice, it had been so clear. She called an exterminator the next day, but after a thorough inspection, he found nothing. No rats, no animals, no sign of anything. Old houses make noises, he told her with a shrug before leaving. That night she heard the scratching again, but this time it was closer. Much closer. It seemed to come from right behind the wall of her bedroom, near the headboard of her bed. She lay there staring at the ceiling, trying to ignore it. But when she closed her eyes, she could feel something watching her. Jenna woke suddenly. In the middle of the night, her body frozen with terror. The room was pitch black. She didn't know why she had woken up, but something was wrong. Her breath caught in her throat as she noticed the scratching sound again. Only this time it was different, softer, slower, like fingertips gently dragging across the wall right behind her. Then she heard the voice again, faint but unmistakable. I'm inside now. Suddenly, she felt a cold breath on her neck. She bolted upright, scrambling to turn on the lamp. The room flooded with light, but nothing was there. The air was thick with dread, but the room appeared empty. Jenna spent the rest of the night sitting upright in bed, every creak of the house making her jump. The next morning, Jenna decided to leave the house. She packed what she could, determined to never step foot in that house again. But as she walked through the hallway, her footsteps echoing on the old wooden floors, she passed by a mirror, one she hadn't noticed before. And that's when she saw it. In the reflection behind her was a figure. It was gaunt, its eyes sunken and hollow, its mouth twisted into a malevolent grin. Its skin was stretched too tight, as if barely fit over the bones underneath. It wasn't standing behind her. It was in the wall, watching her, pressing against the plaster with long, bony fingers. Jenna froze, her breath catching in her throat. Slowly, the thing began to push its way through the wall, the wallpaper bulging outward, as if the figure was trying to squeeze through. Its twisted hand broke through first, its fingernails scratching against the air, reaching for her. With a scream, Jenna dropped everything and ran out of the house, not daring to look back. She never returned, leaving everything behind. When the landlord came to collect her things, he found her apartment completely abandoned, except for the mirror. But he noticed something strange about the mirror. The wallpaper on the wall, reflected in the glass, was ripped, and underneath it was something scratched into the plaster. It read, I'm still watching.
Ugh. Ugh. Thought it was going to be like one of those ones where the person's like in the walls. But
Not gonna lie. Well done, ChatGPT.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
I'm gonna give that a thumbs up. Good job.
I got a short one for you again.
Yeah, let's go.
I began tucking him into bed, and he tells me, Daddy, check under the bed for monsters. I look underneath for his amusement and see him. Another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispers, Daddy, there's somebody in my bed.
What do you do?
I physically assault the one that's in the bed.
How do you know that's the right one, though?
I physically assault both of them.
I give them both. These hands are rated E for everyone at that point.
So you're telling me you go into the room at like midnight. Delilah's sitting on her bed, scared. She says, "Hey, Daddy, there's someone under my bed." And you look under and you see Delilah scared, saying, "Daddy, there's someone in my bed." You're throwing hands at both of them?
Honestly, knee-jerk reaction, I'd punch whatever it is under her bed. The second I realize there's something under her bed, not even registering that it's another version of her, I'm throwing a punch. I can't tell you how many times I've almost accidentally committed a crime when Lindsay scared me just because of my knee-jerk reaction of, oh, fuck!
We're texting the FBI right now.
Don't tell on me, please.
I'm doing it.
No, I'd probably grab Pee-wee off of the top of the bed and run. Just run.
How do you know that's the right one?
I'll find out if it eats me as I'm running away.
Oh, here's one that's a play on the one that we were talking about earlier. I just had ChatGPT make one. In the dead of night, I heard my mother's voice calling me from the kitchen. But as I got up to go, I remembered she had died 2 years ago. Then from the corner of my room, I heard a whisper. Don't go. I heard it too.
Nope.
Who the fuck else is in my room?
I killed everyone. I killed all these people.
I killed all your people alone.
Then who's in your
house?
There's people in my house.
In my house?
Well, not anymore.
You dumb bitch.
The people of the town said a monster lives in the woods. I frankly find it ridiculous, for I was the only one who lived in the woods, and I see no monsters. I forgot how good these little quick couple sentence horror stories are.
My phone buzzed with a text that said, I'm outside your window. I live on the 15th floor.
My 4-year-old said he wished that people didn't have to knock. I told him about doorbells, and he asked me to install one on his window.
Oh, I've heard that one. I woke up to the sound of my wife calling me from the kitchen, but as I got up, I felt her sleeping next to me.
I got one for you. It's only 5 nights. It's only 5 nights. Freddy Fazbear.
Fuck you. There was a picture of my there was a picture on my phone of me sleeping. I live alone.
Yeah, I live alone. Yeah. Yeah, that one's fucked up.
The last man on earth sat alone in a room when he heard a knock at the door.
Nope. That's when you get a gun.
I hear my daughter giggling in her room every night, but I don't have a daughter.
Yeah, that's that play on nothing makes people more happier than a child's laughter, except at 2 in the morning.
Yep.
And you don't have kids.
My reflection smiled at me when I wasn't looking.
Ugh.
Ever since my best friend's body was found in the creek near our house, my parents haven't allowed me to leave the home. Keeping me chained up in the basement is the only way to prevent me from hurting anyone else.
Have you ever heard the one where it's like my mom and dad tell me like it's too dangerous to go outside or something? I don't remember what it is, but the ending is, I wish they would tell me what that big ball of light is and it's like they're chained in the basement or something like that.
Ugh.
I asked ChatGPT to write me a 2-sentence horror story, but
Okay.
instead it described every gory detail of my father's murder that had taken place just 2 days earlier.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a little fucky.
Hold on.
I thought I had-
ChatGPT.
I thought I had sleep paralysis again when I woke up and was unable to move until I saw someone else's breath in the cold air.
Nope. I was having a pleasant dream when what sounded like hammering woke me up. After that, I could barely hear the muffled sound of dirt covering the coffin over my own screams.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Nope.
I downloaded an app that predicts how I'll die. It said, "You'll know in 5 seconds."
Oh my god.
Just fucking explodes.
So I'm actually having ChatGPT create me some now.
I have been too.
As I scrolled through the old photos of my childhood, I noticed something chilling. The same man standing in the background of every photo, even though I never remembered him. When I blinked and looked again, the man was no longer just in the photos. He was standing right behind me.
No. Nope. Set the computer on fire. Set the house on fire. All of it.
I woke up to a text from my mom asking me why I was screaming in my sleep. The only problem was my mom has been dead for 5 years.
After years of being deaf, I started hearing faint whispers in the dark. The doctors said my hearing has returned, but I can't explain why the voices keep saying, "Don't listen."
Huh. That's a weird, like...
A weird
Like,
fucky
'cause-
one.
Yeah, because, like... What do you do in that situation? You know?
So this one's a little fucky. I heard my daughter laughing in her room, but when I walked in, she whispered, "Mommy, the man under my bed thinks you're funny too." But we live alone.
No.
Absolutely not.
Nope. I would say any of these stories that kind of like put a child in danger are the ones that really fuck with me. I do not like. Oh, yes.
I tucked my son into bed and kissed him goodnight, and then turned to leave his room. I stopped when I heard his voice behind me say, "Mom, who's the woman standing next to you?"
It's when you turn around with a haymaker.
With a haymaker?
You just punch your husband in the face.
Why does your husband look like a woman?
I thought we were role playing tonight. What the fuck?
All right.
You thinking it's gotten too spoopy?
I'm a little too spookified.
Ooh,
Too
I
spookified.
just had a good one too.
All right,
Okay,
let's hear it. The last one, it better be good.
I thought I had locked the door, but when I went to double check, I saw it slowly swing open. On the other side, my reflection stared back at me, smiling.
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't like that one.
Put up your dick beaters. Let's go. Start boxing yourself.
Put up your dick, Peter.
Well, I think that was it. How do you guys feel about them? Are you
Good.
all spookified?
I'm spookified. I gotta go to bed soon.
I gotta take a spooky dookie.
A spooky dookie. Every time that goes.
Hope you guys had a spooky dookie.
And for many more spooky dookies later.
Still plenty of time to take another spooky dookie in the month of October. We gotta find
Fuck
another
yeah.
word for like a Christmas one.
I'll think of one. I got it. Give me like 10 minutes after we stop recording. I'll think of one.
I'm
But
trying to think.
Okay. Well, while Alex working on that algorithm over there,
I'm fucking just steams.
I'm glad you guys stopped in, gave us a listen. I hope you liked it.
Hopefully we weren't too bad at telling stories.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
it was the first time we've done like telling stories that we're reading instead of firsthand accounts. So hope
There
you guys
wasn't
liked
too much
them.
banter either, so hopefully like
Yeah, more quieter episode, more calmer, and not as chaotic, especially as bad as last week's. So we'll
no, it's next week's.
oh, next week, whatever. I'm all turned around. Thank you guys for stopping in. Hope you liked it. Give us a like, a follow. It goes a long way. Check out our socials. I try and post there
Question
as
of
much
the
as I
day.
can. Yeah, we forgot our question of the day. So
We sure did. What's your favorite scary story?
yeah.
Oh, in the dark.
And if it's a good one, we'll read it on the next episode.
We'll read it for the Halloween episode.
Yeah. You get the special Halloween 2024 episode. Woo! But alrighty. You want to send us out, Alex?
Happy haunts, everyone.
Bye.
Oh.